After Sukkos, it could be that there's a little bit of a chizik that one can get from the differences between the mitzvahs of Sukkos. It's like an afterthought to Sukkos. There's a very big difference between the mitzvahs of Sukkos. We find that when it comes to a Sukkah, there's a lot of leeway. When it comes to a Sukkah, a person can have a wall that's 10 tefachim, even though it doesn't reach his roof, but that's also a wall. And a person could have 3 walls. Sachakol, his sukkah doesn't even have to be 4 walls. It has to be 2 walls and a tefach. That's also called a room. It's also called an enclosure. If he has 2 walls and there's a little thing sticking out, that's also called a room. And if he has some schach puzzle, it's not so bad as long as he doesn't have 4 tefachim and schach puzzle together. And if he has an airspace, it's not so bad as long as there's not too much airspace. And when it comes to a wall, everyone knows there's a concept of a doifin akuma, that the wall bends, even if it doesn't reach the schach, right by the kosher schach, but we'll bend the wall, we bend the rules. We don't have to have a full wall, we can have schach puzzle, we can have a little bit of airspace, we don't have to have a full room. It seems to be that in Sukkah, Lavid, everybody knows the most place where we use Lavid is in the Sukkah. If the walls don't meet, so as long as they're within 3 tvachim, we look at it as if it meets. In Sukkot, it seems to be there's a tremendous amount of leeway in the halachas. Yet, we find the exact opposite when it comes to the Daled Minim. When it comes to the Daled Minim, a lulav has to be point straight to the top, green and perfect, and the esrog can't even have a black dot, and it can't have a blemish, and everyone's trying to make sure it doesn't have a blettel, even something that is kosher, and we have to make sure that it doesn't have any chaser, it's not missing anything, and the hadas has to be, that doesn't have to be a perfect shilush, they have to be, the 3 leaves have to be coming out of the exact same place. There's a tremendous stress on perfection and diktuk, and it has to be perfect when it comes to the lulav and esrog, and the Hadassim and the Dalamir. But when it comes to the Sukkah, it seems to be there's a tremendous amount of leeway. And this was something that bothered me, troubled me. What's the message that we're supposed to get here after Yom Kippur, after a Sukkos? We're starting the new, I guess, a new zman and a new cheluk of life, a new cycle in the Shtayim Mikra V'Echad Targum. What's the message? And I was thinking that maybe the idea is that there's 2 different aspects. There's the aspect of our Avodah, and then there's the aspect of how HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepts our Avodah. In our Avodah, we have to try to be perfect. The lulav is connected our spine. The esrog is connected our heart, our leif. The hadassim are connected our eyes. The svasayim, the lips, the aravis are connected our lips. And our avodah has to be with our full body, and we have to give it our all, our spine, our leif, our eyes are for Hashem, our mouth is for Hashem, and it has to be with that level of perfection, the extent of our avodah. We have to try to be perfect in our avodah, perfect avodah Hashem. That's what we have to try. But the Sukkah is a Kadosh Baruch Hu. We sit b'Sukkah Shleimecha b'Tzel Knafecha. We sit in the Rebbeinu Shalom Sukkah. Kivyachol, it's a yichud room between us and the Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Klal Yisrael together with the Kadosh Baruch Hu in the yichud room. We sit together, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu tells us that if you're trying and it's a be'emes try, then I accept it. Legamre. So if you're trying, if a person makes a wall and it's only 9 tvachim, he's not trying. But if he's making a wall and it's 10 tvachim, and you see there's an effort there, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will look at it as a full wall. And if the wall is a little bit bent, then by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as long as he sees that there's a real effort, so then HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepts it. And if there's a little bit of schach puzzle, so then HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at it as a completely kosher sukkah. If there's a little space here and a little space there, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the way he accepts our avodah, if he sees that we're trying, is as only a Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Avarachamim can, he accepts it as a full avodah. As long as there's a desire for the perfection, a desire for perfection of Avodah Hashem, then a Kadosh Baruch Hu accepts us like that. Imperfections for Yom Kippur. And to live on that level, you can't live on that level the whole year. But we show Kadosh Baruch Hu miyad after Yom Kippur. We'll get a lulav, it's perfect, the esrog is perfect. But Kadosh Baruch Hu tells us that the whole year you might not be perfect. If you're trying to be perfect, I'll accept the avodah. I'll accept it as perfect. And Bez Hashem, it should be a year of bracha in all and yon, and the year of the bias, Mashiach tzidkeinu b'mheira b'yameinu, amen.
Thank you for listening to the Guard Your Eyes Daily Chizuk broadcast. Pass them on to your friends and help spread Kedusha in the world.